By far my favorite part of having a fully connected smart home is setting up crazy unique automations like this one. We're gonna have to get into some pretty advanced smart home automation techniques to get this one set up, but don't worry, I'm gonna explain them all to you and make sure you stick around to the end because I know the outcome for this one is gonna be so dope. So this automation is going to utilize these Aqara presence sensors and my Dbot vacuum. These presence sensors basically use a technology similar to radar to track you as you move around the house. You could see there on the app as I walk around my office, you could see that the presence sensor is tracking me as I move around. Now, I have these sensors throughout my entire house. I have coverage in every single room, so my smart home knows where I am at all times. This is going to be crucial for the automation that we're going to set up. Then the other component for this automation is going to be the Dbot N10 vacuum. So the N10 has a LiDAR sensor on the top, which allows it to basically be spatially aware and map out the space that it's in. You'll see here, this is my apartment. You can see the Dbot there in my office. This not only makes it so it's super efficient when cleaning, but crucially also lets you select certain areas to clean. For example, if I wanted to vacuum a very specific section of my office, I could just select it with this box and then set it to clean, and it'll just clean that area. This is super useful, and it's what we're going to use for this automation. Now, the idea here is to combine these two devices and figure out a way so I could say to my smart speaker, hey, I made a mess, or hey, clean the room that I'm in, and the vacuum will come to you and clean the room exactly where you're in. You don't need to specify the room. It's going to find you and come clean there. This is the fun part of automation for me. When you have the tools you need for the automation, we have the vacuum and we have the sensor, you just need to figure out the best way to put it all together, and I think I kind of have an idea on how to execute it, so let's try it out. We're going to be setting this up in Apple HomeKit, which is my smart home software of choice and where all my devices are connected to. Now, luckily the Aqara presence sensors I was showing you are natively supported in Apple HomeKit. So if I go into one of my rooms here, like my office, for example, I actually see whether or not it's detecting occupancy right in Apple HomeKit. So because I'm in my office right now, overall office presence is detected. So I'll be able to use this as a variable in my automations. Nice. The vacuum, however, is not natively supported in Apple HomeKit, but that's okay. We're going to be using a piece of software called Homebridge, which allows you to connect non-supported devices into Apple HomeKit, and Homebridge has a really good plugin for the Dbot vacuums. Now that I've got that set up in Homebridge, I now have control over my vacuum in Apple HomeKit. You'll see here I have my vacuum named Samantha. I can set it to clean, or I can set it to go charge by flipping these switches. Super easy. But we don't just want the vacuum to clean everywhere. We want it to clean a very specific area wherever we're standing. Here's how we're going to set that up in HomeKit. What I'm actually going to do here is set the vacuum to clean a specific area. In this case, we're going to do my office, and I'm going to hit clean. Now, because we have it linked up to our Homebridge software, it's actually going to tell us the coordinates of the area that we just tried to clean. Then what I could do is take each of those areas that I've defined that I want to be able to trigger in my smart home, and I've added them as variables that I control with another switch. So now what I have is a whole bunch of different switches in my smart home to vacuum different areas. So if I turn this switch on, it's going to vacuum the kitchen. If I turn this switch on, it's going to vacuum the bedroom, etc. Now, we're not actually going to use the regular automation interface because it's too simple. We need to check a lot of different variables at once, so what we're going to instead use is Siri shortcuts. Now, Siri shortcuts integrates directly with Apple HomeKit and lets you use a bunch of crazy logic when setting up automations. I'm going to set up what I think is going to work here. Let me show you. So here's what I set up, and I think this is actually going to work really, really well. So I have this shortcut named I made a mess, which is going to be the key phrase I get to say to Siri to trigger that event. So if I say this, what's it going to do is run through this top to bottom. And what I did is use a bunch of if statements. So what it's going to check is first, if my office desk detects occupancy, then it's going to vacuum the office. And if that's not true, it's going to go down to the next one. If the living room detects occupancy, then it's going to vacuum the living room. If the bathroom detects occupancy, then it's going to vacuum the bathroom. And I've done this for every single room in my house. And then we're basically done. So when I say I made a mess, it's going to check through each of the sensors' presence data in my house, and whichever one it lands on, it's going to trigger the command to vacuum that specific room, all automated in my smart home. Let's just test it out. So check this out. I'm in my office. I've got my HomePod there. I am not touching anything. I'm not on my phone. I should be able to say, Siri, I made a mess. And then I'm just going to wait and see if the vacuum comes out from the living room and comes around in here. I'll speed up the video. Nice. Come on. Right in the office. Yeah. Look at that. So it just went through that list, it checked, it saw that I was in the office, and then the vacuum came and cleaned the office. And that's fully automated. If I move to another room, it should just kind of work. Let's try it in the kitchen. So I move over to the kitchen, vacuum's still in my office. Now if I say, Siri, I made a mess, and again, we'll wait to see if it comes over here. Ah, that's so cool. Anyway, that worked out really well. I hope you guys didn't mind that long video, but that's how I go about problem solving and setting up a smart home automation like that. One of my favorite parts about smart home is I can take existing devices that I already have set up in my house, and you can get creative with stuff like this and make something that's actually useful and actually cool. Let me know if you guys like that longer form, like deep dive type of content. I'd be happy to make more of these videos. Again, I absolutely love this stuff. Other than that, I hope you guys are having a great day. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.